I cannot share my screen. Minute.
Since you're driving, Minute, I think you just need to pull over and kind of make her a host.
So I'm just going to start without the slides, and if Minute gets me in, then that's fine. So basically, we go through the three structures of the way people get set up for a business. And in the travel nurse industry, we've been noticing that a lot of you are already incorporated even before you've seen an accountant. So there are pros and cons to that. The three basic the three basic structures are self-employed or sole proprietorship, partnership, and incorporation. So ideally, when you begin, we would have liked you to begin as a sole proprietorship. So if any of you have not yet incorporated, that may be something to explore. If you're already incorporated, no problem. I mean, there are things that we can do since you're already in that structure. But as a sole proprietorship, there are a few things that you have to keep in mind in terms of register your business if you want a name. The filing of the taxes happens under your personal taxes. So basically, you will do your bookkeeping in any kind of system. I'm going to go through bookkeeping categories later because that's one question everybody asks. You should maintain your books on any kind of software with the help of your accountant. There are a lot of expenses that you can write off as a sole proprietor that also benefits your taxes if you have a spouse or some family members that can be included. And you may have to register for HST or not. It depends. We have established that your particular profession is exempt. So the ones that came to me, the nurses that came to me, I actually got them to close their HST accounts. Some of them are in the process of closing their HST accounts. So technically, you do not have to collect HST. Ida, I'm right about that, right?
Yes, you are. And that's one thing that I know a lot of people get a misconception about this. I think the agencies would normally say you need to give us an HST invoice. And I think that what the agency simply means by that is that you need to give them, if you're saying you're in a corporation, you need to give them an invoice in the name of your corporation with your business number on it. But because that is never really explained, some people go ahead and register for sales taxes when the vast majority of you don't have to be. Because if you're only doing nursing is exempt, so you should not be collecting HST. You should not register for HST. So that's correct.
Okay, so the next one is a partnership. Now, say if you and your husband both are travel nurses, that might be an option. It's
Tania?
Yes.
Sorry, I just wanted to add that some nurses also have side businesses, just like me that I have the scrub business. Some of the nurses, they have side businesses where they sell stuff and things like that. So
okay, like
sometimes it's also good to ask maybe if they have those, and that might be part of the reason why some of them could be worried. Or maybe would they need it? Would they need GST or HST accounts if they have side business?
Okay, I get it. So if you have multiple businesses, like Minette was explaining, you would need an HST, but you would not need it for this particular travel nurse business. The two businesses have to be kept separate. That would depend on a case-to-case basis. So you could be running a side business under your personal as a sole proprietorship, and you could be incorporated for your nursing business. So it's again a case-to-case basis. We will have to advise you based on the questions that you ask based on your situation. So it's not one general rule. I don't want to confuse you at this point by discussing that because it may not be applicable to most of you. So anybody
just to add, because I'm kind of aware of Minette's situation. So there might be some people who are running that quote unquote side business as part of their corporation. So your ABC Inc. something, and you're doing your travel nursing and billing from the corporation, and you're selling something else which is taxable and billing from the corporation. That is a completely different case from what Tania is talking about. And that's why it comes down to, if you have that kind of situation, you need to sit down and talk with somebody, because we can't give general we're giving general information right now, but we always have to come back like case by case how does this apply to me particularly?
That's
Yes.
right. Yeah. That's important because, again, we don't want to give out too much information in the general information. It causes confusion.
Yes.
So now most of you that came to talk to us have been already incorporated. That's just because it's been told by the agencies, oh, you need to have a corporation, and so you go and get a corporation. So if you are already incorporated, which I believe most of you are, then the documentation that you need to have is your articles of incorporation, because that is the starting point for any accountant or anybody to start with your tax or your accounting matters. You would be filing a separate tax return, which is called a T2. Okay, your personal tax return is called a T1 general, and the corporate return is called a T2. So basically, you're by incorporating, you're giving birth to a separate entity, which is outside of yourself. So you cannot, you will not be filing all your business stuff under your personal. It will be two separate tax returns, two separate sets of books. You have to maintain two separate sets of expenses. That means you have to have a bank account linked to your incorporation. So as soon as you incorporate, you get your articles, you go to the bank, you open a bank account. There has been a lag. Many of you have opened it late, or maybe there was no contract, so you did not open the bank account until the time it was necessary. But technically, you're required to file your corporate return from the date of incorporation. So the bank account is important because that's the information that you would give to your agency or the hospital or whoever is paying you. The money should go straight into your incorporation bank account, not into your personal bank account. However, it has happened that many people have taken corporation checks into their personal account initially because the bank account was not opened. Again, your accountant can help you deal with that situation. Again, the HST situation, you have to register wherever applicable. Most of you are exempt. So again, it's a case-by-case basis. If you're already registered, we can close it, make it inactive, or we can just look at and see if it's actually applicable to your situation. You should be responsible to budget and plan for taxes. So when you incorporate, basically you are a separate entity. The corporation money is technically your money because you are the only one earning it. But because you're incorporated, it is a separate entity. So almost you would look at it as that's my account and your account. You can't put your hand into my account and take the money whenever you feel like it. So your corporation is separate from you. We have to set up certain rules and certain ways that you would take money out in the most tax efficient manner. And again, that's on a case-to-case basis, depending on your tax situation, depending on your spouse's income, depending on how many dependents you have, depending on side businesses. There's lots of things. So there are some people who also have a T4 and they're also contracting. So then it becomes a situation where we have to be more efficient with the taxes. So the tax planning is a very, very customized process for travel nurses, and it would be done on a case-to-case basis. Generally speaking, how do you pay yourself from your corporation? So say, for example, your corporation made $100,000 in 2023. Now, that is your only source of income. So technically, you need maybe 80% of it if you don't have a spousal income or if you don't have any other income. So how do you pay it out? So there are a couple of ways that you can pay it out. One is as a dividend, and that can be explained in detail. Dividend is an after tax or after profit, and after it's a profit sharing, but it's after tax. So it's a little bit more beneficial way of taking money out. However, it has some disadvantages. Secondly, you can pay yourself as an employee. So just like you get a T4 from maybe a hospital or somewhere you would have worked at before, your corporation now becomes your employer. So you become the employee, your corporation is the employer, and the employer would give you a T4 as if to say you are an employee of the corporation. This is one of the most commonly used methods just because it helps with tax planning. You're paying your taxes every month. You're paying into your CPP. So it's one of the most common and easiest ways to take money out of the corporation. And of course, CRA likes that because they're getting their money upfront. The benefits of incorporating, it has a lower tax rate, yes, but as long as you retain money inside the corporation, you can take advantage of that lower tax rate. So again, this is a case-to-case basis. We will advise you based on your tax situation. There is also a third way of taking out money. You can take out money as a contractor, but the government doesn't like that. They basically, it used to be okay before, but not anymore. So that's why as accountants, we advise dividend or salary are the two best ways to take money out of your corporation. And then if you do your personal taxes with the same accountant, which we advise you do, they can help you plan on the personal tax side as well. So once you take that, say out of 100,000, you took 80,000 into your personal taxes, then we will start tax planning on the personal side as well as to how to reduce your taxes. So basically, corporation plus personal, the total taxes that you paid should be the minimum. That is the aim that we work towards. Taxes have to be filed on time when you're in, I mean, everybody's taxes have to be filed on time. But if you are involved in payroll and all these other extra things, then taxes have to be filed on time. The way you can choose is basically 12 months from your date of incorporation, or you can choose a December 31st year end. Again, the accountant will advise you based on how much income you've made in that year, when your contract started, which is the most beneficial for you in that first year. Then we can decide what year end to choose. So that is in just about incorporation. There are many factors that go into, again, deciding like your annual income, family specifics like dependents, disabilities, write-offs available to your business, how much you rely on the income from this source, and then what can you do with the money left inside the corporation? This is another big question because, okay, if I make 100 and I take out 50 just to be safe on my taxes, what happens with the other 50,000? Does it just sit idle in my corporation? What can I do with it? So those are the questions that we can help answer. How an accountant can help you. So first of all, Ida and we meet with travel nurses. I believe the first meeting I provide is complimentary. So you can basically have a one-on-one with me for 30 minutes, discuss your situation, and we can give you some ideas of how to proceed. So meeting one-on-one to understand your unique situation, advise you what is the best structure for you. If you're already set up as a corporation, then we would make the best of that situation. If you're not and you need to, then we will help you to transition. We help with bookkeeping and tax planning. And then we provide advice along the way. So it's basically not just we'll see you at tax time and that's the end of it. So we will advise you along the way. Situations keep changing, contracts stop, contracts start. Somebody might stop a contract, go on a T4 in the middle for 4 months, or may not have a contract. So that's where the tax planning comes into play. Do we defer income because I didn't work? So there's a lot of questions there. So we advise along the way. So every maybe 2 months, 3 months, we would do a follow-up meeting with you. We work with other professionals. So there's another seminar that's on Wednesdays. So we would work with the wealth seminar people to basically advise, okay, do you need to do an RSP? Do you need to do a TFSA? What is the best thing for you? The bottom line is to put more money back in your pocket that you work so hard for. Okay, so that is the way all of us are working towards to make sure that you retain the most money for yourself. And we are here to hold your hand every step of the way until you're confident about how the structure works and you're happy about the taxes that you're paying. Nobody's happy about the taxes that they're paying. You're happy that you are where you should be. They're not overpaying taxes. So again, there's no obligation to join, to come to me or to come to Ida. We are just doing this to help other women and empower other women because we know how difficult it is to understand all these things. You are just thrown into the situation. You have to manage your job at all odd hours. So we're trying to just help you to make this easier, give you education upfront, and help you to make informed decisions. So I am not able to share the screen, but I had another slide which showed all the expenses that you could write off. I can share that on the group. So you'll have a comprehensive list. And I also have a worksheet that I'm willing to share with anybody that needs it. So with that, I'm just going to close off and let me see if I can share screen. Yeah, I can't share the screen yet. So I'm going to close my presentation and I'm going to open it up to questions. If anybody has any questions, you can either put it in the chat or you can ask.
59 years to pay off.
I see Sean is asking a question in the chat. Sean, you want to come up and ask, or should I say
Shareholders
your question
loan
for
is
you?
a temporary thing.
Yeah, sure. So I have another corporation for like rental properties for a holding company.
Yeah.
And from time to time I've taken some money out. My accountant had said I could do a shareholder loan.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering if that applies to a nursing like business like we're talking about right now.
So corporation to corporation, you can have it as a shareholder loan for sure. As long as it's monitored and it's paid back. I believe that within corporations there's no problem when money is transferred off, as long as it's invested and then it's not like funneled through that corporation and you're taking it out or anything like that. So as long as there is a proper record maintained of how much was transferred, what was it used for, you can do a shareholder loan, and you can do it the other way around too. So if that corporation wants to lend money to a nursing corporation, that also works.
So sorry, I meant for like personal use. So like if I wanted to take a shareholder loan to
Okay.
I don't know, I wanted to replace my water heater, it cost me like $3,000. I wanted to take it out or something. Could I do that?
You can do that. I believe you have to show a repayment within a 60-month period, right, Ida? You can
So
keep it.
So to answer your immediate question though, Sean, yes, you can take the money out. But like Tanya already mentioned, there are only two ways for you to actually take money out of your corporation, because it's either a salary or it's a dividend. So a loan, but what I was saying that it's a temporary thing. It's a shareholder loan. It's a loan. The intention is that it's going to be paid back.
Yeah.
And so what people have been doing is they're taking out loans and adding on the loans and just keeping the loans there, and they're never paying it out. And so what the government implemented was they imposed that you either pay it back within a certain amount of time, or they would have to require you to include that in a dividend over a certain period of time. So the timeline for that is what Tanya was talking about. What I remember, I need to check it again, but what I remember is if at the end of one fiscal year, you had, let's say at the end of December, you had a shareholder loan of $50,000 sitting there as money that Sean's taken out of this nursing corporation. By the end of the next December, they want you to have paid that back, or if not, that amount has to be included in an income of sorts to you. So you either have to take it out as salary or as a dividend, because they don't want you.
We should be taxed at whatever rate applies.
Well, technically, you have to be paying interest at the prescribed rate on the money that the company loaned out to you, because your company is acting as a bank to you.
Okay.
So they have their prescribed rate to say, we don't want business owners to have an advantage, quote unquote, against other people because they can take money out of the company. That's the government's thing. So they impose a prescribed rate on the loan that you're taking out. I don't see many people doing that, but I know that once it gets to the end of the next fiscal, most people's like, okay, this loan that was outstanding at the end of the prior fiscal, what do we do about it? It has to then be moved from that temporary position. It's either paid back or it's included as a dividend or as part of your salary.
Okay.
Yes.
So you could pay it to yourself as a bonus or something like that at the end of the next fiscal year, or you could pay it back. Some people pay it back and take it out again. So that is something that can be done. But yeah, so there are the things that can be done, and also at the same time we have to make sure that you're safe, so that tomorrow if somebody audits, you're not in the situation where, okay, no, you know what, now we're going to issue you a T4 and you're on the hook for the taxes. So that's what we do, is to make it in such a way that, yeah, you can take the money out, but then we also have to advise you about what other circumstances and the consequences that you have to follow after that.
Okay.
You can email me and I can talk to you about this in more detail.
Okay, so sounds good. Is your email address in the chat or something? I don't see it anywhere.
I'll put it just now. I'll put it.
Thank you.
Do you guys have any other questions? Usually when people are very quiet, I ask myself, is it that we did not understand or that we completely understood everything?
I was also gonna ask, so is sorry, the person that just asked the question, are you in the travel nurse group?
Yes,
Okay.
I am.
And are you a travel nurse too?
Yeah, I'm a registered nurse and nurse practitioner as well.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, sometimes also I share their whole information there as well. So yeah, but I think Tanya is gonna give it to you, either both of them, they're gonna share their information for you all to gain access to. If you ever lose it, please don't hesitate to ask us. You guys have access to that information.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
The next few days, which will be the last of your miserable lives.
Any other questions? Anything you want me to speak again about? I'm also going to send the expense spreadsheet to Minette. She can share it with everybody, so you all can see all the expense categories that that you can use to write off different expenses under. Any other questions? Okay. Minette, what do you want to do?
I don't think Minette is here. I think she
Oh,
No, I'm
disconnected.
here. No, I
Oh
was
yeah,
muted.
I see her.
I didn't realize I was muted, so I was talking by myself. Yeah, no, I think I don't think I have any other question again. Does anybody have any other question? You guys pop the questions. Is everybody here? Is there anybody here that is still a sole proprietor, or we are all incorporated, as in all? Is there
If
any
you are
sole proprietor?
incorporated, if you're incorporated, just put the number 1 in the chat, please. That might be easier. And if you're not, put number 2.
Minette, there are some people that asked questions when we had our meeting on Wednesday. Are they not here? Because they were asking tax-related questions while Jolene was giving her own lecture then. Are they not here?
I don't know if they're here or not. I mean, I don't know if they're here or not, but I have those questions written down on my computer. I'm just not beside my computer. But some of them, one was about sole proprietor, the difference between sole proprietor and incorporation, and they were asking some like, what is an estimate about how much they can pay the tax for their taxes? You know, everything depends on each individual because, again, the accountants are here. That is their questions.
Yeah.
I will it was just about 2 or 3 questions, but I'll run into it when I'm able to get my computer all pulled out. I'll find that question for the accountant.
Okay. I see a few people asking for the spreadsheet. I think Tanya is going to send it to Minette so she can share it with the group. And then in the chat there's a couple of people who've popped in number 1, so that means they're incorporated. A lot of people did not respond. Guys, when we come to do a Zoom like this, the more interactive you are, the more we can be of service to you. And so I think Minette is doing something really awesome here to reach out to professionals who can be here to assist. So this is your opportunity to actually just take advantage of that. And then to add to that, one thing that I noticed last year, and I think is the same thing again this year, is that a lot of people took money out of their companies between January to December, and they came to us around February or so, and they were supposed to declare salaries and or dividends. If you're supposed to declare salary for 2023 and you haven't already done that, you're late. And the penalties and the interest when you're late is horrible. So if that's your situation where you took out money from the company and you haven't determined if it's salary or dividend, you don't have time to sit and be waiting around. You have to do something about it now. The deadline to remit that was the 15th, so we're 4 days late now. But every day you waste time, it's more interest and penalties that's adding on it. So act on it if that's the situation that you're in. If you had a corporation, then you're in that pot.
Yes, that's a good point. And February is the
Hi,
deadline.
sorry, I just have a quick question.
Yes.
Yeah, based on what I just said right now. So my name is Adenike. So I set up a corporation June of last year. So I took out some money last year, but I spoke to an accountant and it's saying I don't need to file till, because my year end is going to be May this year. So I don't need to file till like June of this year. But based on what I just said right now, there is a penalty for not filing. Yeah.
Okay. There is a lot of things administratively that you need to do when you have a company.
Okay.
Your company was incorporated in June. So the accountant 2023, the accountant you spoke to is right. And that's what we say all of this comes down to case by case basis. From the date of incorporation for the first year of operation, from the date of incorporation, you have a 53-week period to choose your year end. So you being incorporated in June, you can technically have the year end in May or any date before it goes beyond 53 weeks. That's to say, at whatever date you finally pick, let's say May is the date you're saying here, May 31st, 2024 becomes your year end. You have 6 months from the end of that year to file your T2, your corporate income tax.
Okay.
But if at the end of that May, it turns out that your company made a profit and you have corporate income taxes that you owe to the government, even though the deadline is 6 months from that date, you're supposed to pay them that balance that you owe within 2 months of the year end. So May is the ending. So June, July, by July, you're supposed to have paid your corporate income tax balance if you owed something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And also,
but that's different from what I talked about now.
Yeah. Also, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
You're still on the hook to file your T4 for the year 2023, which deadline, as Ida said, you're already late, but you can avoid being even later because February is the deadline for your T4. So even though your year end is May, you still have to file a T4 or a T5 for the money that you took out in 2023 because payroll goes by calendar year.
Yes.
Okay, but sorry to cut you. So because before I set up the company, I worked from April to July. So I have the T4 for those ones. I worked for like another hospital as a staff. So I have the T4 for that one. And when I started as a travel nurse, so I paid myself in August. I'm going to get a T4 for that from which point? So the accountant was telling me that I only need to file the work I did and the T4 that I got from myself through Wage Point.
So you are registered with Wage Point for your corporation?
Yeah, that was just for my corporation, but I only did the payroll once because based on what I wanted to do, it's not going to make sense for me to be paying myself every month. So I decided to stop that payroll for now. So then continue much later. Yes.
But are you still taking out money? That's the question. You may not have reported it to Wage Point, but are you still withdrawing money even though you're not reporting it to Wage Point?
Exactly. I'm just taking out money, but not as wages, just taking it out. Then my thought is that at the end of the year, then we'll decide if it's going as wages and what is going as dividends.
Well, that it can be deferred, but then again, you have to be sure about what you're going to do now, because you're still technically that money was taken out in calendar year 2023. So
Yes, yes, yes.
it is taxable income in 2023 because as personal taxes are filed as per calendar year. So
Oh, I get what you
Okay.
mean. Okay. All right. Okay.
Nikkei, let me
that makes
clarify
sense.
something. So let me clarify something. From what you said, my understanding is your accountant would advise you that based on your situation, your income that you already have personally, it doesn't make sense to add a salary to yourself in 2023, income-wise. Is that what you're saying there?
Yeah, because he's saying it might go up. Okay, for example,
Okay.
all the work I did from April to July was, let's just say it was about 20,000. Then I paid myself through wage points 2,000, 3,000. So everything put together is like 23,000. So he was saying, you know what, file
Let me
that
pause
one.
you. Let me pause you. When you say you paid yourself through which point, it's your incorporation that
Yes,
paid you to your social
myself.
insurance
Yes,
number on which point.
yes,
Okay.
on which one? Yes.
Okay, keep going.
Then, so it was like, you know what, we are just going to file those T4s. Then, June of this year, we will now do the corporate taxes. Then we will decide the one that will go as dividends or the one that will go as wages or something like that. Yeah, that was what he said.
Okay.
So,
This has to be a more personal conversation, but if if the dollar amount you're talking about is all that is, you're in a very low tax bracket and it doesn't make sense to defer any income.
It depends on the T4 that she made till July, though.
Yeah. So she said the one from April to July is 20,000.
Oh, that's it.
So
that was
you muted
as
yourself,
an
Tanya.
employee. That was as an employee with
Yeah.
Showing more.
a government hospital.
Does
That's
he
right.
know? Does he know that T4 how much it was? Did you tell him that?
Yes, because I looked it up. Yes.
So your entire all the T4s you're going to receive for 2024, 2023, assuming you don't write one from your company, all the T4s you receive for 2023 total would be about 20,000.
Yes, from my company will be 3,000 through wage points. But
company through wage point 3,000. The other place you worked at 20,000. That's
something
the
like that.
lowest tax bracket. If you can pay, if you can declare more now, I would say do it. It just depends. Like this is more like have your accountant actually run your numbers and see where overall is going to make sense. Because if you're going to take out dividends and declare so much more next year, like next year is going to, let's say next year it puts you in like $100,000 bracket when this year you're paying 20. It makes sense to instead take this one up to maybe 40, 50, and next year you're lower. Overall, you pay less taxes than if you're deferring everything to next year. But whatever T4s you already paid yourself this year, whatever salary you paid yourself this year, you have to do a T4 for the end of December because it's a calendar year for T4 and dividend T5. Now, when does your company have to report the dividend income?
That would be my year end is May this year, May of this year.
Dividends, technically dividends are declared at your year end, but the
Yeah, so
filing
that's
is in
May of
December.
this year. May of this year.
Yeah, so be sure, like I would advise you to sit down with Tanya or myself or go back and sit with your accountant and make sure he has the full picture of what you're saying. So they're giving you the right information, complete information.
So how can I reach you guys? Like maybe after the
You can
meeting.
get a second opinion either with Ida or me. Just let us run the numbers just to make sure. And you can also talk to him is fine. How you can reach us? My email is on the chat. Minette has both our emails, and I think Ida's email is also on the chat, so you can connect with the emails.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll check the chat. Okay, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
By the way, Ida's in Montreal, Quebec.
Yeah, I'm in Quebec. So those of you
She's in
who
Quebec,
hate
I'm in
Quebec.
Toronto because somebody was asking, but I think she'll be the expert on Quebec taxes and of course all of Canada. I don't like doing Quebec taxes. So I will defer any Quebec people to her, but any other province I can take care of. So, and I'm located in Toronto. So just so you'll know where we are and if you need anybody. I have clients all over Canada, so I do virtual, a lot of virtual. They don't have to meet in person. And I'm sure Ida also has people all over from other provinces.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's not an issue. If you are out of province, we can do virtual appointments. We can do phone calls. We can do Zoom meetings and WhatsApp calls. If you're in the province, we meet. It's as simple as that.
Yep. And let's see, there's a question. Okay, you answered that. Erin had a question in the chat, but you answered. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I think we covered it for today.
I think so. If there's any questions, again, you can email us anytime. We will answer you back within a 24-hour period. Anybody, either of us. And that's how we are here to support you, help you, guide you, and give you whatever tools we can to get you on your way.
There's a question there. Say, is it better to be a sole proprietor or incorporated?
I'm gonna give you the most common accountant answer. It depends.
It depends, yeah.
Depends on
It
your
Depends on
depends.
your goal.
It depends on the individual. It depends on
Yeah.
like your overall situation. It depends.
Depends on many things actually. So
Yeah.
we have to ask like million questions to figure that out.
I mean,
Laughing.
and that's why they say there is no shortcut, because everybody, you need to be assessed. Sorry, guys, my son is behind. Oh my God.
No problem.
You need to be assessed on your own taxes, on your own finances, on your own wishes.
Yeah.
Each individual is different. Some people
Mhm.
get incorporated and then they realize that they actually didn't need to get incorporated. And then they end up spending all of that extra money being incorporated,
Mhm.
whereas they would have just avoided it with the right accountants and the best financial advisor.
Yeah.
And some people are supposed to have been long incorporated and they find a person who doesn't know anything about corporate income taxes and then they keep advising them, don't incorporate. When
You're
it's not
right.
actually your best interest, it's more because they don't know
Yeah.
how to
Right.
do it.
That's right.
Right.
You're right. And that is why, if I would just chip in, that is why it's good for you to have, number one, a good financial background, and number two, a good accountant that can carry you. You pour yourself out onto them, then they'll be able to definitely guide you in all the way through, so that to make an informed choice, an informed decision. Because
Yeah.
when the chips are down, you are all alone with the Canadian revenue. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I so much enjoy your teaching. God bless you. Really good. I so much enjoy everything. You have been a support. This is Omo talking, Maureen Omo. You've been a support pillars right from last year, and we so much enjoy. That's why we say let us bring you in again for this year, because we need it. Because we have a lot of new people that are joining. So that is why Minette and I said, okay, let us bring you people in again. Come and just pour yourself into us, because we are ready. We can't just be working this much and at the same time pouring the money back to the government. That's why we want the people that have the right kind of mind that we have, like you people, to come and help us out. Thank you so much, Ida. Thank you so much,
You're
Tania.
most welcome. You guys do so
You're
much
very
for the
welcome.
community, so that's the least we can do for you guys.
Yeah.
Minette.
There's a question in the chat. Ogo of the Most High is asking if we can both do corporate and personal and incorporation and
I
sole
just
proprietor.
replied.
Yes. Sole proprietor, incorporation, we do all of that. So just decide who you want to talk to, go ahead and don't do the
Yeah.
thing where you anyway do what you want. But I was gonna say something, but no.
Don't say it.
But go ahead. And just one thing, please. Last year, one thing that happened, which if it happens this year, I'm like, no. People would book time on our calendars and don't show up.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're giving complimentary calls. If we give a complimentary call, Tanya says she gives 30 minutes. Last year I was giving 30 minutes. This year I'm probably bringing it a little bit down. But people would book time and not show up. That's the worst thing you can do, because we're giving our time to you for free.
Yeah.
The least you can do is show up when you book
Yeah,
on the
and
calendar.
it's tax season, so
it's tax
July is
season.
tax season, so please respect that.
Yeah.
We are so
See, and
sorry
you
for
see,
that
this
on
is-
behalf of people that did it.
These are some of the things that when we think of organizing free services to people, like I'm a nurse and I do appreciate the fact that that you guys are here to learn this information for yourself. But trust me, at the end of the day, you guys are the ones benefiting free information. And these people who are volunteering for us, they do not make any money from this. And me, for example, buying this subscription, nothing. I'm not making any money from anybody. So please, let's respect the fact that these are professionals burning their time to come and sit here and teach us. And if we are going to be booking on their time, remember, they are taking time of their counseling, they are canceling, they are erasing, they are removing that time that you've booked off from potential clients to give it to us. So I would really appreciate if we take that responsibility as professionals ourselves to value the time that we are booking on their schedules, to make sure that we attend the appointments with them. At least attend, realize that it's not for you, and then you leave it. Than that you book the time and then you just totally think that it's one of those whatever appointments just because the services are all free. You think you can just, no, please, let's be respectful. Okay, please.
So let us be cautious as well. If you are not coming, just call. Tell them I'm not coming. I'm sorry. I have this shift. I have this and that and that. Just that's courteous. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. We are here for you.
Thank you so much. Minette, any other thing?
You can end the meeting, I think.
Minette?
Yeah, sorry.
Minette, you can end it now, I think.
You guys need it.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Oh,
Thank
we are
you.
done. Okay, well, thank you all for attending. Thank you, everybody. I hope you had a good time today. Sorry, I've been so distracted with these kids.
So we see on Wednesday
yeah.
for the financial something. Minette,
Yes.
tell them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. Yeah, we've already said that. They're here every Wednesday for the financial education and every Friday for the tax education. Okay. Thank you all. Have a good day.
Thank you. Take care. Bye. Minette,
Thank you.
God bless
Bye-bye.
you. Take care.